So for today, before we have our guest on, also like to kind of chat about some of the trending topics. So I was kind of looking to see what was going on in the world today. And interestingly, the first two stories that popped up have to do with devoted moms. So I thought that was quite interesting. But the first one, this was interesting. So there was a mom who was in line at like a gas station to purchase her lottery tickets. No, she was at a Publix to purchase her lottery ticket. And she had her two daughters with her. And I think one of her daughters, something was going on. They needed their shoes tied or something. So she was kind of bent down dealing with her daughter. And an older lady, a lady at Mackenzie, she's an 84-year-old lady, went ahead and kind of stepped in front of her in the line. So once they got to the front, the cashier said, well, actually she was, the lady with the daughter was here first. Would you like to go ahead? And she passed. She said, oh, I'm good. So she let the lady go ahead, and turns out that this 84-year-old woman won the lottery. And I mean, like, the big, like, jackpot of, I don't know, what was it, $590 million.
Oh, boy.
Woo! And so, and the lady with the children, she was there to buy a lottery ticket as well. Ah! So, yes. So potentially, we don't know how things work out, but potentially if she had, went ahead and took that offer and got back into her space,
wow,
she could have won that money. But she said she's not salty, not upset, and things happen the way it's supposed to be. And I'm wondering, I think if that was my situation, I don't know, maybe I would reach out to that lady and break her off something, for letting me cut in line. I don't know. What do you think about that one?
Well, okay, so I need more data. First, I want to know if it was a quick pick. If it was a quick pick, definitely I would be like, oh, are you kidding me?
Yeah, they were both quick picks.
If it's a quick pick, it picks random numbers, and no one's to say that those numbers would have come up for the other person had they been reversed. And then if there were particular numbers that she plays or that she, and that's what usually happens, is that someone has a set of numbers that they play. Then, it belonged to who it got to. Now, if I was the older lady, I probably would have thought about, this mom that she had interacted with very briefly. Right. But also at 85, she probably forgot that lady even existed. I'm just saying. She got a lot of things on her mind right now.
True that.
She probably don't even remember that kid. She probably didn't even remember that lady. So,
the mom wasn't upset, and she doesn't think that she's not expecting anything or asking for anything, so which is good. I just wonder if we'll hear anything else in the future about that story, and see if she does.
I'm worried about that misbehaving grandson.
It was her daughter. It was her daughter.
The grandson is the one. Well, yeah, that's true. It could be a granddaughter, whatever. But, Mima just hit it, and what's mine is hers, and what's hers is mine. But way to share. She has enough to share. Yeah.
Yeah. So way to go, devoted mom, for not expecting anything in return. But hey, maybe you will. We'll see if Grandma steps up. So another story that I saw that was interesting, and this happens a lot. There's a woman who was training for a marathon, 33-year-old mom named Trish, and she was experiencing some back pain. And so she thought maybe it was something, maybe she pulled a muscle or, slipped a disc or something in her training. But she went through the entire night, woke up in the morning, did her mom things, went and supported her husband, I think, at a basketball game, went to another event for her other daughter who was at school, but the pain just became unbearable, and so she decided to go ahead and go into the ER and find out what's going on with her back, and come to find out she was actually in active labor, and a few hours later had a little boy. And so she, of course, wasn't expecting it. She said she hadn't gained any weight. She didn't feel any movement. And also, this is the other part, her husband had a vasectomy. So they already have 2 children together, and she was also a stepmom of 3. So they were already, a family, a mom and dad with 5 kids, and wasn't planning on having another one. But now she's got another healthy newborn joining their family. And I just can't imagine, because you think about all the planning that you have to do that you need to do before you have a child, even just the mental preparation of becoming a parent again, along with the things around the house that you want to prepare for. So to one day just wake up in the morning as a mother of 5, and then a couple hours later a mother of 6 before you even know it, I can imagine can be very, very overwhelming and exciting at the same time. Because the baby is quite healthy, good size, so obviously got all the nutrients that he needed while he was in the womb. But stories like that are just fascinating to me, that you can go an entire 9-10 months and not know you're pregnant and run. She was running the night before, training for this marathon. So that's just amazing to me. What a story. Girl, can you imagine that? I know I can.
You know what? I can. I actually had a girlfriend who was 7 months pregnant.
Okay.
And that's what happened with her. But as soon as she found out, it's like she got pregnant overnight. She got big.
Really?
It was wild. And then I've known of teenagers that's done that before.
Yeah. I have definitely heard of teenagers not knowing or knowing toward the end. But that was, wow, that was a crazy story. And then there's one more, and of course we hear about these all the time. And this, I kind of related to this story a little bit myself, but it was a lady in your area, actually, Virginia area, who almost had her baby at home by herself. So her first child, who's 3 years old, he took about 20 hours, almost a full day. She had a full day of really active labor. So her doctors had prepared her for, at least maybe 15 hours on this pregnancy. So she started having contractions at home, and she didn't think to call her husband yet because they weren't that bad. Her 3-year-old son was sleeping. And then her water broke, and she was at the house by herself. And, instinct kicked in, and she felt the urge to push, and she went in the bathroom and got on all 4s and pushed that baby out all by herself. She did have a chance right before she pushed the baby out to call her husband and call the paramedics, and so they both kind of arrived at the same time with her in the bathroom holding their new baby girl. That was just an amazing story to me, and I kind of relate to it a little because my last pregnancy with Nia, labor was very, very quick, and I did definitely felt like I was going to have her in the car on the way to the hospital, and ended up having her about 20 minutes after we got to the hospital with no drugs, which was not my choice. Of course I survived and it was all good, but I personally love epidurals and got them with my first 2, and that was definitely the plan with the 3rd, but Nia had other plans. So she decided to come on very quickly, which is nice. At least I wasn't in labor for hours and hours without any drugs. But I thought that was a pretty awesome story. And her son slept through the whole thing. So, the father went and woke him up and said, "Hey, your baby sister is here." So that was kind of a great story. I'm glad that mom and baby are doing great. They spent one day in the hospital just to check out, and then everything was great. So I'd love to hear devoted moms out there if you have stories like that of not necessarily horror stories, because we don't want to scare any of our pregnant devoted moms out there, but just some kind of, crazy or different ways that maybe you conceived, or that you had your child, and what happened on that beautiful day when they entered into this world. Because it doesn't always happen by that, you got your bags, you got everything packed, you got your cameras, and you got everything. Sometimes you're rushing out of the house, like we were. So I thought that was a really cool story.
That's interesting, because I'm sure back before hospitals and with midwives, that's kind of how it rolled.
Right.
What's interesting to me is I like to know if the hospital possibly charged her. You know what? By that time, I would have went to patient first and been like, "Can you just check to make sure everything's okay?"
Right.
One of the doc in the box. Or shoot, just wait till Monday morning when the doctor's off.
Pediatrician, right.
But no, I'm glad. I'm glad the baby.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
That was a great story. So. Definitely.
Yeah. So that was. That's my thought always goes to, okay, so yeah, who's gonna claim? I don't know how they're gonna do that insurance claim.
Yeah, who had to pay for that?
That should be a free baby. And I will tell you.
I always wondered.
I'm
sorry. Go ahead.
No.
No, I was saying I always wondered who got paid at when Nia was delivered, because my doctor was not there. He didn't get there in time either. So I'm like, he came and sewed me up. So I'm like, you know what? Don't you take credit for all of this, doc.
Right. Like, you all both should have signed the birth certificate.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, like for her birth certificate should be signed by her. I do want to let Devoted Moms know, and you too, Tasha, that Jordan is trying his best to join us. He finally did get what he needed to connect over, and so I'm really hoping that he'll join us shortly.
Awesome.
Yeah. They're in route.
I guess we'll give you a little background, Devoted Moms. Her teenage nephew is coming on, and we are going to pick the brain of a teenager and get kind of the scoop on, what's going on in teenage world now, and what is it that maybe we don't quite understand, that, if they just had their platform and they could speak, what do they want parents and adults to know? What's the latest slang? Are you hearing things in conversations with your teens and not quite sure, what that means? So I think he's going to give us a little lesson on the teenage vernacular.
Yeah, I got one the other day, and some of the words that we used mean completely different things now. So we are going to look forward to, just checking in and hearing from Jordan. But, again, Tasha, I am so excited that Sylvia Global has allowed for us to have this opportunity to be able to talk with moms all around the world and hopefully influence and support just moms trying to do things a little differently and hopefully enhance the larger community. And so I'm just very grateful, I think we both are, for having Sylvia Global as part of just how we're doing this, and just encouraging folks to check out our site and the many other programming that is happening at sylviaglobal.com.
Yay! Awesome. Yeah. So I wanted to okay, so I'm not into sports at all, but so you said when you were at the spa, just going back to the playoffs, did you guys actually watch any of it?
Okay, so while I was getting scrubbed down like a casserole, Carlos had a a mango smoothie, and his feet propped up, and he was watching the game, and so it occupied him to be able to do that, and it was really kind of funny. But yeah, I guess, Devoted Moms, I've got my nephew on the phone, and I'm just going to answer it and see what's going on. Jordan, what's going on? Oh. So apparently he sees us. Yeah. He sees us. Hi, Jordan. He sees us, and maybe what we're gonna do is maybe, you know what? Hey, Jordan, you know what we did before? We had a similar challenge. If you can talk loud enough, we'll put your picture up, and then at least we'll get, you know, some of your insight.
No, I'm saying we're not understanding what I'm saying. Like, I literally can't get into the video call.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. I hear what you're saying, and it's okay because Auntie has you on speaker. And so we are ready to go ahead and hear from you. So we can skip the video call. You can see us, and that's fine. But Tasha, can you hear Jordan okay?
I sure can.
Okay.
Hey,
so
Jordan.
Can you hear Tasha, Jordan?
A little bit.
Okay. So say hi. So, you know, we've had to wing this thing before. And we'll make sure that our cool producer Carl, you know, will help us out with this. So listen, Jordan. One of the things that we wanted to have you on was because you know you're one of my favorite young people in the world. And if no other young people are listening, I'll say you are my favorite. But I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. I got lots of favorites. But Jordan, one of the things Tasha and I talked about a couple of weeks ago was discipline, and how depending on the child and the age, what that discipline looks like. And so we really want to understand, what is it that motivates you to do something differently?
As far as discipline?
Yeah, as far as doing the right thing.
Having your right motivation and being able to take being able to have discipline as far as where it's coming from and like how you've been taught. So it's all about how you, I don't know, I'm trying to break it down, but
Okay, so what keeps your mom from not having to beat you to do what you need to do?
Me just doing what's right. There's really no other way around that one. Like, making us out and doing what's right in my best ability.
And so if you do something that isn't right, what works to get you to see, like, what you're doing right now, Jordan, is not a good decision? Consequences. Okay.
Yes.
Now, do you determine those consequences, or?
Okay.
I'm sorry, say that again?
How does that look? Do you determine the consequences, or does your mother come up with them, or is it collective?
My mother. Sometimes it might be collective, or depending on what was done, you know?
Mm-hmm. So if we've got devoted moms who, you know, Jordan, we just spent a week together, and it was a complete love fest. But I do know that, you know, our relationship is different because I'm auntie. But if you had a devoted mom who was just like, you know, I've been trying to get my young person to clean their room, and I've taken things away, I've given things, what would you, as a young person, what makes another young person like do something in response to?
Abiding by it, you know, knowing that you have to have something and holding up to what you did as a child, or just being able to say that you belong and that that's all I'm doing.
But when did that start? Would you say that was earlier, that that your mom did, that you all did a lot of talking, or
A lot of talking.
a lot of talking? A lot of talking. And so is that talking always smooth and sweet and soft?
Oh, no.
Not at all. So I guess
it all depends on, what you did, and knowing that those consequences are going to be, you have to pay for what you did. So.
right. And it's interesting because I was dealing with working with Ella this morning about, she heard her sister say she was going to do a chore, and she instead quickly did it in so that she couldn't. And she was she was being spiteful. I mean, she was being a little sister, and I explained to her, don't expect for her sister not to be mad with her, because you did this on purpose. So she's 6 now, but I'd imagine by the time she turns 13, maybe she might get it. What do you think?
Definitely. It's all about practice and what I think as she gets older and as she begins to understand a little bit better,
Mm-hmm.
and why she does things the way that she does, I think that it would definitely get better. But as of now, she can just be a little hothead.
Well, the funny thing about it is she wanted to flip it and start crying like she had been done wrong. which was a great strategy when you're like 3 or 4, but it does not.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah. So if you had the ear, which you do right now, you have the ear of thousands of moms across the world, what would, and I know you can't represent all teenagers, but you are phenomenal, and I think that you can at least give us some insight. What is it that you think moms need to know?
That sometimes your children won't always understand right away, and that it takes time for different kids and teenagers to grow and to know that things will take time, and that everybody's is not going to think alike, and that that it's important to know that you all should grow together and not and not have one person just do one thing.
Right. So so it sounds like parents need to understand patience or practice patience. Mm-hmm. And they also need to know that at some point it will click.
Yes.
Okay, it will make sense.
And most importantly, to see eye to eye and to deal with whatever is going on, together, and not, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you know what? I'm curious to see if a teenager has something going on that they really do need their parents' support on or insight on, but they're fearful of maybe the reaction. How would you tell a mom or a dad to make that teenager comfortable enough to say what happened and to reach out for help?
I'm sorry.
What would you tell that mom if she knows something's going on but she doesn't know what's going on, and she wants her child to reach out for her for help, but they won't? What do you think that parent? Yeah, what do you think the parent should do?
Reach out to their children and just be able to make that connection. That I'm not going to get mad at you, but we're going to get through this thing together.
Okay, so they should make it really clear whatever is going on.
Right? That you shall overcome.
Did you say that you shall overcome?
Yeah.
I love you, boy. Okay. All right. Is there anything that comes to mind? Anything else that you'd like for that you think parents just don't get this part of kids? They don't get this part of being a teenager.
That although that we are at a stage now where our emotions they change up, and that things go down where parents might not understand that it's usually the same, or something that's difficult is usually going on in teenagers' life that parents might not understand.
Mm-hmm.
So it all depends on where you're coming from, or you understand.
So teenagers do tend to have some serious swinging emotions. So we just need to know that, right?
Yes.
And I'm kind of repeating what you said just to make sure, because you might be a little bit muffled. And also what I heard you say was that sometimes those emotions might be about something else, and maybe your parent thinks it's about one thing, but it may be about something else. So it's,
right.
Yeah, so it's almost like don't take it personal. In an adult world, we'll say don't take it personal.
Right.
It's your
Don't
child.
say that to your parent.
I don't know if you can do that.
No.
And the parent and the child could be, dealing with different things. But
Okay. So recognizing it could be it could be a lot of things going on at the same time, but
you might not know it.
okay. Well, what would you do to investigate, or what kind of question would you ask to figure out, is this about this or is this about that?
Is this about what?
What would a parent say in that case? What would a parent do?
It could be a number of different things. Let's sit down and let's talk, just talk to each other to get your true feelings out. Sometimes going to therapy, it could be a number of different things.
Yeah. So you think talking is really big?
It's a big, yes, and it's all about saying eye to eye.
Yeah.
To help you all better become closer. And to stable your relationship.
Well, and it's interesting because you also mentioned accessing someone from the outside, like going to counseling or to therapy.
Right.
And so, sometimes parents think, oh, the kid needs to go to therapy, but it sounds like what you're saying is that sometimes it's helpful that you both go.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
That's good to know. We had a show not long ago about mental health and children, and I don't think we touched on that. I think that we kind of glossed over that, especially as a teenager, you've got your own feelings and thoughts that are a little bit more concrete than maybe someone who's 5 or 6. And so
Right.
Teenagers
Right.
benefit from having, I guess, that kind of third party
Mm-hmm.
help navigate that conversation.
Right.
Right. Okay. All right. So, Tasha, do you have any questions? You've got a new teen.
Yes.
So this is your chance.
I have a new teen. I have a female teen, and so so far so good, though, I will say. But I do, I would like to know what some of the slang terms or really, you guys are in such a text world, and I know that there are a lot of text abbreviations and things like that I may not even be aware of, because when I text, I use full words, correct sentences, correct grammar, periods and exclamation points and all of that. So that's how I text. But I know that teenagers don't typically text like that, and so they do shorten a lot of things. And besides the LOL and SMH, that's really the only ones I know. So what are some of the slang or terminology that you might be using now that us moms may not be aware of?
Jordan?
Your voice is kind of faded.
Okay, so Jordan, Tasha wants some insight. Remember the other day you and my niece Amanda kind of schooled your old auntie about words and slang that are commonly used by young people?
Yeah, like cuff and all that.
Like, what was it, fluff? No, cuffs.
Something else we talked about.
Oh, cuffs. Cuffs and caking.
Yeah.
And so, cuffs, I remember you saying, meant that you were in a relationship with somebody or connected to somebody.
Right.
Right. And then cake meant you weren't in a very, you were not very connected to somebody, but you were hanging out.
Right, right.
And that it could involve sex or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as well as, yeah, you got it.
Okay. So give us another before somebody comes and pulls your teenager card for outing them.
There's not many. It's very simple, you know, and it's really what you just said. I can try to think of some, I guess, more teenage terms, but.
Oh, what about you're not in the life? That was.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
He's laughing at me, right?
About that life.
You're not
about that life.
You're not of the life. Oh, so you knew that one. You're not of the life. Okay. You're not of the
about
life.
that life. I know that one.
You guys are funny.
Well, you know, we're trying to learn from you. One of the things you said is that we grow together. Relationships grow together. And so, you know, we're parents that are still growing and just trying to keep up. So what does popping tags mean?
Popping tags. Popping tags means, Gina knows this one. It means you can go into a store and pop some tags and really show yourself. Meaning you can really, you know, buy a lot of clothes and you pop some tags. You pay a lot. Or it could mean that you pay small for a lot of things, like if you go to the thrift shop.
Right. Right. I told Tasha that I turned you on to thrifting.
Yeah, she definitely did.
Yeah.
Because we went in there and we popped some tags for real.
We really had to pack his suitcase differently because he had acquired a few extra items, not to mention 2 watches. So okay. How could somebody who's maybe kid isn't gonna go to a thrift store, you know, how could they encourage them to also be thrifty with their money? And we're gonna close after this question.
To make like wise decisions with whatever you're buying, to be aware of what you're buying, and know that you can get this if you get this, or maybe I can't get this if I get, you know what I'm saying? Like kind of down onto your budget and know what you're purchasing.
What I hear you saying, the adult word is making sacrifices. What would the teenage word be?
I'm sorry, it's making sacrifices?
Yeah. That's what an adult would say. It's like you're asking someone to make certain sacrifices or priority.
Right. Prioritize.
Okay. How would you say that?
For a teenage sacrifices in a teenage way?
Yeah.
Probably the same way. Is to know that you know, whatever clothes you're buying, you know, you're making a sacrifice for. I don't know. That's a hard one. I really don't think about making sacrifices when I buy clothes.
That was honest.
Yeah, we're gonna have your mom on next week to talk about that.
Right.
Yeah, because she's not going to be happy with that subject.
Okay, great. All right, so we have had Jordan on, my nephew, my love, definitely the 16-year-old I love the most in the world. And I just want to thank you, Jordan. He's on his way to do some summer beaching off the coast. And so thank you so much for joining us. Titasha, as always, it's great to be online with you. And maybe we'll make Jordan one of our timely, our guests more often. So thank you, Jordan. I love you very much. You all have safe travels. And
all right. Well, I love you too.
Okay. And Titasha, did you want to close us out?
Yes, thank you so much, Devoted Moms, for joining us. Fabulous show as usual, and thank you. We are humbled, especially for you listeners that come and join us every single week. We hear you, we see you, we love you, and feel free to email us and let us know what you'd like to hear about. Thank you so much for coming. I love you, darling.
All right.
See you on the other side.
Mwah.